Hi, my name is Brooke Maestro. I'm here to give you a quick rundown and a quick short lesson about a box and whisker plot. I found this quite interesting. I've never heard of it before, and once I've learned about it in this class, and then even my son, who's in 7th grade, helped me understand it a lot easier, and I really liked it. So I wanted to go ahead and teach a quick lesson on how you can make this a lot easier for your kids, and especially easier with kiddos that do have a learning disability like my son. And he found some really cool ways of how to get your data information using these kind of quick little tidbits that some of his teachers taught you. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of look at what a whisker or a box and whisker plot is. At the very end, this is what our end goal is going to look like right here. It's going to be a nice big box, and then we're going to have our little whiskers right here on the side. Now, when you do a box and whisker plot, they're going to give you quite a bit of numbers for your data. When you're getting those numbers, it can be overwhelming. Sometimes it could be a little bit of numbers, sometimes it could be a lot. So definitely breathe and take your time on this. And when you do this plot of information, I would definitely suggest using a piece of paper, a pencil, and a good eraser. You're probably going to need it more than once, and that's fine, but it's a lot easier that way. If you have any mistakes, you can always erase them. But again, if your children or your students get quite a bit of numbers like this, just tell them to breathe, take their time, and we can slowly work with them together. And if you mess up, you can always erase. But today, I don't want to do as much numbers as that today. We're going to go ahead and do a simpler bit of numbers. We're going to go just 1 through 10, which is what I have right here. So we have 1 through 10. Now, when your kiddos get those numbers, make sure you tell them to put them in order from least to greatest. So thankfully, I've already gotten ours least to greatest. But again, a lot of numbers can be very overwhelming, so just tell them to breathe and do their best and work small groups at a time, and they'll eventually figure it out. The important thing about this is when we are making our graph and our data that we have, we're going to need to make sure our numbers in their order, and when we mark them down in our chart and stuff and everything, they need to be from least to greatest, okay? Now that we have least to greatest, which is 1 through 10, what we need to do is we need to find our least number, or our minimum number out of all this number data. So as we can tell, it's already in order, but our smallest number out of this group is going to be 1, which is our last number that we have in our plot. 1 is way smaller than 10, so that's our small number. So our least minimum number is going to be 1. Now that we have our least number, we're going to find our maximum number, so our big number. So out of the bigger numbers, it's going to be our 10. That's the last number at our end of our number data that we have. So our last number, which is going to be our largest number, is going to be 10. Now, we have our least and our greatest, but we still need some more information to make our box out of our box for our whisker plot. Okay, so now that we have our least, we have our max, we need to find our middle number. So we need to find the number that goes right there in the middle that makes everything even on this side and everything's even on this side. Now this is the way my son told me, and I found it very easy. But as you start counting down, you're going to kind of group your numbers together and count slowly. So you're going to go 1, and as you count to 1, you're going to use these two numbers as one group. So you got 1 group, 2 group, 3 group, 4 group, 5 group, and keep grouping them until you get right there in the center. You might be left with 1 number in the middle, which is going to be our middle number, or you might be directly between 2 numbers. So let's see what we have. So we're going to group them together. So we have our 1 and our 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these right here are grouped together because there's no number in between them. So we can't say our middle number is 5 and we can't say our middle number is 6 because they're still together. They're grouped in that group together. So what we have to do is find our our middle number. So what's in between those numbers, okay? The easiest way is a simple equation. You can do this with all of them. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take the average of both these numbers together, okay? Some people automatically know they're gonna be like halfway point between 5 and 6 is gonna be 5.5. But if you need to work it out, because some people can't think on their feet like that, you're gonna use this simple equation. We're gonna find our average. So what we're gonna do is we're going to open parentheses that we have. We're going to put 5 plus 6, close parentheses, and this can be put in our calculator, and then we're going to divide it by 2, okay? So we're going to have open parentheses, 5 plus 6, close parentheses, divided by 2. So when we do that, that's going to equal to our 5.5. So our center number right here is going to be 5.5. So we're working really good. We got our information that we have for our least, our max, and we have our middle number now. Now we need to find our upper and lower quartiles, which is basically the middle number for our lower part of this half. And then we need to find our upper quartile, which is the middle number for this upper part of this group of numbers, okay? So now that we have our numbers, we're going to find our lower quartile of the group of numbers at the very bottom, which is our least amount. So again, we're going to use our finger method, and we're going to group the number from the very end of our equation and then the number at the very beginning of our equation. So we have our 5.5. So we have our 5 and our 1. So that's 1, 2, and thankfully our middle number is going to be right here, which is going to be 3. So 1, 2, and then our middle number is 3. So our middle number, which is our lower upper quartile, is going to be 3. Next, now that we have our lower one, we're going to go for our upper one. So this is our upper quartile. So again, we're going to group these together. We have our 5.5 over here. So we're going to group these. We're going to go 1, 2, and 3, which is our middle number. And luckily, we don't have anything in between them. So our upper quartile number, so our upper middle number of our group is going to be 8. So that's our upper quartile. Now we have our information. We have our least, we have our max, we have our medium number, which is our middle number. We have our lower and upper quartile now. Now we can use all that information to make our box and whisker plot, okay? When you're using a box and whisker plot, again, this is what it's gonna look like as well. So we have our box, okay? We have our whiskers, which are these, and that's gonna be our bar that goes to our minimum, and our whisker over here, which is our bar that goes to our max. And then right here is gonna be where we put our information for our lower quartile, our median, which is our middle, and then an upper quartile, which is this data right here, okay? So, but we're gonna do that together. I'm gonna show you exactly how we're gonna do that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our line graph, and we're gonna start inputting our data that we have, okay? So we have our least number, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we have our data of our numbers. Remember, our lower quartile, our least number is going to be 1, okay? And our max number is going to be 10. We're going to go ahead and draw a line up here and put a dot. And we're going to go ahead and draw a line up here and put a dot, okay? So we know where one whisker ends and where the other whisker ends. Now we found our middle number, which is right here in between our 5 and our 6, which is going to be the 5.5. We're going to go on up here. We're going to put a dot right here. So we're going to make these dots just a little bigger, okay? Now we're going to use our lower and our upper quartiles now. So our lower one was right on up here. We're going to put a dot. And then our upper quartile is going to be right up here, which is going to be our 8. So I'm going to circle those, circle those, circle those. That way I make sure my data is right there. I know exactly what I'm doing. So now that we have this, we're going to create our box. Now when we create our box, we're only going to use from the quartile to the other quartile. And we're going to create a big rectangle. So we're going to go right here. We're going to create a big rectangle, and that's just connecting these and all this information in one box right here. Then we're going to make sure we put a line right here in the middle where it's even with our middle number, okay, our medium. We want to make sure we separate it. That way we know how much is on this side and how much is on this side. Now we just do our whiskers. Our whiskers, we're going to start right here at our upper quartile, and we're going to bring it on over here to our max number, and then we're going to bring our other whisker to our lower number, which is right on over here. Now we have our box. We have our box and whisker plot. We have it right here, and then we have our whiskers right on up here. So at the end of this, when your kids are done, that's exactly what it's going to look like. We're going to have everything right here, and I would definitely, when we start doing this in class and you're putting it in your notebook, I would definitely do something like this on the board. That way they can write it into their notes, and definitely have them label everything. That way when they do go back to reference it, it's all right here. So they're a little bit more refreshed on whatever they can get their hands on with numbers and knowing what it should be. Should it be least to greatest or max, or where the box is made, or where the lower quartile and everything like that. So they know exactly where everything is. So at first it seemed very just like, what is this? But once you finally get the hang of it, you start understanding how pretty simple it can be. The most overwhelming thing is trying to get your numbers from least to greatest. After that, pretty simple. And the same thing with all the equations and stuff can be used with any of your numbers. You're always going to find the average in between two of those numbers. Just use those, and same equation that I taught you, and divide it by 2, and you'll get your answer for that as well. So hopefully this is good enough to get you started and made it pretty simple enough for you. So, but if you have any questions, definitely reach out. But hopefully this helps. So thank you. You have a good day.